Piece onto this computer. Recording in progress.
Got it.
Oh darn.
Leave me.
So darn.
Oh darn. Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh,
so,
golly gee willikers.
All right, Danielle, remember it's being recorded. Your NC is going to watch this. So,
Yes.
real quick, I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks ago, we talked about a couple of the, what was it? The four fundamentals, the four pillars to develop and retain leaders. So does anybody understand? Does anybody remember which ones am I talking about? And then go ahead, Stephen.
Dude, they work. I love it. It was the favorite call. I look at those notes every day and I'm trying to implement it. I've had 5 lunches and dinners with people. 2 of them didn't take them to the field. I let them take like an hour off. And it's funny, they did more sales the days they were in the field less time. I see the difference in the office. Thank you. I love it. So Raf's a genius.
So what was it? What was the 4 things?
Trust, accountability, prioritization, and patience.
All right. There you got it, Miranda. Yes. So and then anybody that was as quick as Steven to apply any of this stuff, it really does work. In my office, it's the same. We've had one leader quit, and it was the only leader we didn't have this conversation with in the last 3 weeks.
I liked it. I even used it in a first round at one point because I used to use kind of different pillars, but then when they asked me what I look for in a candidate, I used 3 of them. And so they were like really taken back with like, oh, that's actually, I like that. Like that's what they actually told me in a first round. So I thought that was pretty funny. So I used it like the day after you said it, which was pretty funny. And I used it in a leader meeting too. And they really took that into account, especially the prioritization part, because now they're really thinking of like what I should be putting first, especially for their own personal growth. So that's been really working too.
Cool. What I'm really looking for you guys to implement, because I know this is hard. Sometimes we run a call every week and then it's hard to like apply it. I'm really looking for you guys to apply this forever. So like make it a part of like your leadership quiz, because like you said, it works. Typically when you tell an employee what to do, they do it. And then it gives you time to develop them into an entrepreneur or whatever, right? So if you guys put it in, what I did is I just do it. I have this conversation with every person before they get into leadership. So whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's the leadership quiz, I just make sure it happens before they get there. But if you guys want to create a structure where you implement it, like you have to have this talk, you just need to have it. It needs to be like a SOP because it really goes a long way. Okay, so what I came up with, well, I didn't come up with it, obviously I copied it. But my call today is the follow-up for this. Okay, so once you have the person now promoted into leadership, I don't know if it's 8 or 9, created 9 different steps. It's called the 8 or 9, just whatever the number is, core steps of a partnership. Okay, so now, and here's the thing, just like I told you 2 weeks ago, this is something I'm just implementing now, so I don't have a lot of credibility, I'll tell you right up front, in terms of using it, but I know it's going to work. I know it's going to work. Believe me, it's going to work. It's going to be unbelievable. Okay. Obviously, none of this stuff works if you're not leading from the front, if you're not the owner that's doing what you're asking your people to do, right? But I kind of take that obviously as an obvious, but this is the 9 first steps. Would you guys rather me share the screen or would you rather me read them, go one by one? It's 8 or 9.
Can you do both?
I'd rather you read them.
Screen?
Yeah, I'll do both. You're right. I'm not going to just share the screen and then stay muted. You're right. Okay.
How about you send that information out?
Okay, so can you guys see it right now?
Yeah.
So let's go over these and then I'll kind of walk you through how I would do the conversation. Okay, so this is a one-on-one I would have. And then maybe we can add this here. If anybody's really good, you can put here like when you're gonna do it, right? Like when to do this combo, and then you just go from there, right? But this is a conversation I would have with a leader as a partner and explaining to them like, hey, I'm looking to create a partnership. And I don't care if the leader's been here for 2 weeks or if they've been here for 6 months. I mean, not 6 months, but a month, whatever. Like, depends on how the leader, how developed they are. I'm obviously doing this conversation more or less formal, right? This could be your leadership quiz. I would suggest to do this like a week. If you did a good leadership quiz conversation and they're prioritizing, trusting you, working on those 4 action steps, they're gonna at least last a week, 7 days. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So at some point within their first week, but let me put you in here before the slump. Everybody familiar with the leadership slump where every leader gets into a part where they stop selling?
Mhm.
Yes.
It has to be before then, okay? And again, if you can do it the same day, if you can do this, get the guy promoted to leadership or the girl, and then put him in the office all day with you and take him to lunch and make them feel special, like Steven said, and do it then. I would print this out and telling them, listen, this is important to me, okay? This is what I call the 9 core steps, or I think there's 8 or 9, yeah, whatever. In order to, yeah, this one doesn't count. In order to honor our partnership, right? So I explained to them, listen, I'm expecting to create like a partnership and not have you work as my employee. And for the next 4, 5, 6 months, 20, 30 weeks, whatever, is to teach you how to run my company. This is a big deal for me because this company feeds my family. And it's where I'm putting, it's all my eggs are on this basket. So for me to teach you and have to delegate how to do this is something I'm very excited to do. But it's just also something that has to be earned, just like I earned it one time from my promoting owner, right? So here's the 8 steps. And again, you can relate this to the 8 steps that we use in the system already, but more from a leadership standpoint kind of deal. And I think this is a conversation that the best part, guys, is you can have this conversation once. You have this conversation one time and it should be good. It should be good to go, okay? So I talk about the 8 core steps. And the first one is, and especially now, professionally networking, right? So I just added the word professionally on top of networking so that it sounds better. I explain how long I expect them to do it and how often, right? So I want you guys to set 2 to 5 one-on-ones every week. Let's just imagine you guys are my leaders, right? So Steven, professionally networking, meaning sitting down with people that are above your position or calling or FaceTiming 2 to 5 times a week where you're covering some aspect of your growth, whether it's your time management, maybe it's a personal problem you're going through. This is a partnership. So we cover everything, personal and professional. You got to be reaching out to people and then making friends and connections outside of the office. Because by nature, there are people are in the office are networking with each other, right? That's not what you're looking for. It is, but that's too inside the comfort zone, right? I added calendar planning there because I think that this is a great excuse for the leader to tell you that they don't have time or that they're busy or that they're in the field until 8:30 or their commute is too long. So I would grab their phone right there and like make a calendar for them and start and create a little calendar. I'll show you mine. I think I've shown you guys mine a few weeks ago, but like you can put everything on the calendar until it's full. Where's my wife? What is she? Okay. I don't know. How do I get rid of this this bar over here? So week. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see here. You can see where I have a lot of free time, right? I know I can call Laura Porter at this time. I have my one-on-ones here, my monthly whatever here. A lot of these things I still got to look at and not sure what they are. But I have all my stuff here, even like my orientation, my practice pitch announcements, territory time, meeting, weather, car rides, anything. And again, don't get too crazy on this. I personally love it. But what I'm trying to tell you is if they don't have time, make the time. Like, don't let this conversation go. Grab their phone and schedule it. Like, I don't know if a lot of you guys, sometimes I grab your phone and I put a reminder on your phone. I remember I grabbed Tommy's phone. I say, hey, Siri, remind me every hour to be great and to become rich. And then Tommy gets a reminder every hour. So that's the first thing. The second thing is personal sales, right? I left it blank because, well, to be honest, I left it blank because I didn't have time. But I was going to say I left it blank so that you guys can put whatever you want your leader to do. Okay, I would say something. I would be more worried not about the standard, right? I would push the standard in the office in terms of high rolling in the office, but then as a one-on-one conversation, I'm just asking my leader to like, listen, you're gonna have a team of people. We don't need you to be the high roller, but you got to have some certain standard, right? That you're always fighting, that you never want to fall below, right? So fill in the blank. And I explained to them, I'm like, listen, your personal sales will always be important. As the owner, you will be in the field one day. And if you do not have good personal sales, your office is never going to work. All your work is going to be for nothing. Explain to them the oxygen example in the airplane, where you're not allowed to put the oxygen mask to your baby unless you have one on yourself, because you can't give what you don't have, right? So personal sales, I think it's important. Think about how many leaders, their personal sales are not that important, right? Reading. I know I'm gonna meet in the next 5 to 6 months a different Julian, and I'm just expecting this from a partner. Again, I'm not saying that this is something everybody's gonna do, but for example, reading 15 minutes a day, like actually reading, no audio. And again, if people tell you they don't have time, what do? You grab their calendar, okay? But I expect my partner to read. Like I have, leaders are readers. So this is a quote that you can tell everybody in your office. There's not a single leader or success. There's just no successful business person that doesn't read self-help or success principle books. If they don't have time, reduce the 15 to 5. Like the whole point is to have it. It's not necessarily what they read. And if you, by the way, as the owner, you're not reading, I would super encourage you to. I haven't been the best at this, but over the last 45, almost 2 months, that I've been reading every day at least 15 minutes, and I've read like 3 books on like paper reading. And there's something about reading into yourself that's very successful, right? If they don't know what kind of books, tell them success principles, leadership, people skills, sales books, whatever that person's weakness is. Give them that book. And if you're not sure what book to give them, reach out to me. I have tons of books. Steven has tons of books, and we can give you one, okay? The next one, and separate from reading, is listening. I want them listening to something. And I'm not asking them to give up their Bad Bunny. Love Bad Bunny, okay? I'm asking them to think long-term in their future, and a way to honor our partnership, a way for me to give them the opportunity to run my company as a trial for their future life is I want to see that you're willing to give up 10 minutes of entertainment for some education, right? It's the way you paint the picture too. It's like, hey, Danielle, I know you love your music in the car, you get pumped up, but would you be willing to give up 10, 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day of all of your commutes, of your entertainment for educating yourself to have a better future long-term? Is that something you'd be willing to do for our partnership? Yes. And guys, this is so powerful, because the leader's going to say yes, okay, to all these questions. And more than likely, they're going to they're going to do it half the time. And the other half, they're going to have excuses. But now you have a leader that 3 or 4 days a week is reading and listening to audios. So they're being coached by you, by somebody better than you and me, probably, without you doing the work. What do you think happens after 6 months to a leader that's, think about it. Imagine a leader that only does half, because they just half-ass everything. After 1 week, they have an hour and a half. So that's 6 hours a month of audios and 3 hours a month of reading. After 6 months, you're looking at 36 hours that somebody spent listening to podcasts about how to not have excuses. 36 hours of somebody telling you to stop having excuses. Dude, you stop having excuses. 18 hours of somebody telling you, or you reading to yourself and reading and realizing, man, this person is not Steven. This person is not Aaron. This person doesn't even work in our business. Why are they so excited about being positive? Isn't that funny? Maybe these 8 steps work, right? So I want you guys to build these habits in people by just asking them to do it. And then watch what happens to them after 4 or 5 months. And then you'll follow up with them. What you learned in that book? What you learned in that book? How's the book going? How's the book going? Even if it's a little forced at the beginning, which will not for the best people, you're going to get some animals out of this that are going to be really good. The next step is association, right? Which I call networking physically, right? Talk about it. Like, talk about the circle of 5. Like make them have a circle of 5, a circle of 10. It doesn't matter. The whole point is that you are who you surround yourself with. Sorry about the background noise. The whole point is that if you spend 10 years and your best 5 friends are drug dealers, you're probably going to be a drug dealer. And this is not a guarantee, but it's the odds, right? We don't play with guarantees. We always look at the odds. The odds are that if you spend, 10 years every single day with Jeff Bezos and the guy from Tesla and the guy from Microsoft, you're probably going to make some money, by default. Some of your hobbies will make money. It's just because this is what those guys do. If you hang out around 5 owners, or you surround yourself with 5-10 owners, you're probably going to end up being an owner of some company, right? So I talk about the ability. I talk about our office screams and yells and celebrates, because most companies don't have that. And then most companies, that's the reason why we actually are cheerful and all that stuff, and we scream, because most places they don't have time to celebrate. Most people at home are not getting recognition. They're getting the opposite, right? So I talk about team nights. Ignore this over here. I talk about their calendar again. If they don't have time, I look at their calendar, right? And I make the time for them. Oh, I got to spend time with my wife. Perfect. Bring your wife. Oh, my kids. Perfect. Bring your kids. Oh, they don't let my kids come into this bar where you do the team night. Perfect. We'll do it somewhere else. Right? Just make it happen. Show them that it's possible. And talk about the value of, most people stay in your company, not because what's happening in the field, but because the people that they surround themselves with, which is going to create a culture long-term. Hey, dude, people love being around Steven, because when I have a horrible day, he's always there to lift me up. He always gives me a high five. If you guys pay attention to your shout outs of your team, hopefully you have people that shout out stuff like that. They're like, man, I love Steven because, I had a terrible day in the field. And you got to teach him how to talk about it. A terrible day in the field in the office. But you get your new guy that says, I had a horrible day. This customer was upset with me and did not buy it. And I had a bad day. And Steven called me at night and he was so positive. He didn't have to. And anyway, talk about associating yourself with people with character, people with good habits, people with people that are thinking about money, right? If you surround yourself with people that think about money, you're probably going to be thinking about money, which by default, you'll make more money. If your goal is to have more free time in your life, surround yourself with people that are fighting to get free time, right? Anyway, just explain it, right? And then explain to them also what our company provides and what you expect from a leader to be to command a team night, right? And be the person that sets up a weekly team night. They have to be in every team night to honor the partnership. If they have a team, let's say this is a leader that has 5-10 people on their team, whatever, they should be doing every couple of weeks, at least some sort of personal team night, right? With their team. And obviously they can invite anybody else, but that sense of ownership of hey, I'm going to get my guys. I remember when I was in Chang's office and I copied it from Claire, Julia told me, I started doing a Dunkin' Donuts Friday morning coffee, and it was just me and one person the first day. And then after 7 or 8 Fridays, I actually stopped going because my leaders were running it. And I was with Chang in the office, taking a little bit of early, whatever Chang was teaching me at the time, probably the accent, right, that I got from her. So that's that. Talk about, we have quarterly
I have a quick
conferences.
question.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I'm going too fast here.
No. I was just wondering, do you want me to hold questions till the end, or because you seem like you're on a roll? I don't know if
You can ask. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So whenever you say what you expect from a leader, to help build team nights, what are you referring to?
You mean the weekly team night, or the second one, or the team meeting? Which one you mean?
Both.
No,
Sure.
the one in yellow is the one that we have. I hope all of you guys should have some sort of weekly team night. It should be on the schedule. It should be a no question thing. So I expect them to show up to that.
Okay.
And then this second one here about team meeting, fun night, whatever. I'm thinking about this for a leader that has maybe a crew already, right? A guy that has 3-4 guys on their team. I expect them to I'm not expecting them again. This is a partnership, right? So I'm just like, listen, Danielle, you're gonna be a business owner. So obviously I'm not gonna chase you down to do this. Because we're business owners. So we kind of think about this on our own. We want to do this. But it's strongly suggested, to honor the partnership, to if you have a team of 3, 4, 5 people, that you can start doing your own team nights. How exciting is that? And by the way, I'll be happy to go if you invite me, but I think something you should start looking into, doing your own little get-togethers with your crew, because when you open your office, you're going to open with a small crew, 4 or 5 people, not many more. So I think it's great that you kind of get into the mind of that. In the meantime, I expect any leader, any partner of mine to be at every weekly team night, regardless of the circumstances, right? Obviously 911s happen and stuff. We can work with that, but for the majority, right? The whole point is that the majority of this stuff is done all the time. Nobody's going to be perfect. I explained to them, listen, we have quarterly conference. The next one is 10/17. By the way, I hope all of you guys can fly in. Danielle, you included in your people. We have a conference in San Antonio, Texas, where there's going to be at least 10 owners, probably over 100 guys. Jessica Vitalik and Julia running topics about just how to be better than what we are. That's why they're running him. Chang's going to be running a topic. Chang has like 19 owners, bro. She's going to be in NC tomorrow. There's going to be people speaking at this place with so many leaders that this is going to be the most exciting conference we've had in like freaking months, dude. I am jacked. It's in San Antonio. Figure out a way to get with other people so that you can save money on hotels and stuff, but get there and get your best leaders there. So I explained the value of that and how I expect people to earn that, and not to, I'm going to send you. No, I'm going to make you earn it. The next 2 are probably the biggest ones, the easiest ones to explain. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a person that's accountable, obviously, to, again, honor the partnership. I'm looking for somebody that's going to be accountable, right? And this is an exercise that takes time, but it's an exercise that I'm excited to look forward to. Like, and this is why I always talk about Steven, and a lot of you guys probably like, Richard, Steven's your favorite. I know Steven's just so accountable that he's almost hard to teach, because he blames himself even in front of his leaders for stuff that's not his fault, which is, it could even backfire you how accountable the guy is. So I think being accountable is something I expect, and I explain it to them, right? Depends on the leader. I'm like, hey, Daniel, I'm looking for somebody that even when they have the wrong territory, which by the way, there's no such thing. Even when they have the bad day in the field, or they have something going on personal, that they're searching for ways to find a solution that they can work better the next time. Something they could have prepared. I'm searching for the person. I'm looking for the person that has solutions, because we all have a bunch of problems. Okay, it doesn't mean you're not going to have a bad day, but I'm looking for the person that, yes, my kid got sick and I had to go pick him up, but I could have done 3 more sales before that if I would have practiced my pitch, and if I would have been way more prepared on this and this aspect. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, regardless if I have to leave for an emergency or not, hopefully, right? I'm looking for this person. Just think about what part they need to be accountable. Tell them to be accountable on that, right? If it's being on time, if it's being prepared, if it's taking notes, if it's dressing better. And then 7, coachable and mentorship, right, Aaron? So this, by the way, Aaron, I got this from Raphael. So that's why I didn't answer you yet, because I know he's not going to respond, at least until tomorrow. So this is when people become proactive. I'm like, hey, I want a person that's coachable and mentored. Like, I'm dealing like, hey, this is a partnership for like a person to run the business, right? Again, if they're very, very new, maybe you don't have to say run your own business. If they're a seasoned or they're just a leader that understands, you can tell them straight up, like, hey, for somebody that's going to run their own business, this is their own business. So we don't chase people down. Like, we want to partner up with somebody that's very coachable and like seeking for mentorship always. Like, hey, check up on me on this, check on me on that. Hey, Aaron, I just ran this meeting. What you think? Hey, I just ran this workshop. What you think? Hey, boss, I did this impact. What did you think? I read this book. I run this impact from my office. What did you think? You always check with your upline. You always go to your upline and you explain, hey, this is how it works. I love this, blah, blah, blah. Chang, I'm about to wrap it up. I know that you have a one-on-one with Julian. I'm going to wrap it up. But anyway, that, okay? Explain to them that being coachable and mentorship is something that is earned and asked for, and it never works if it is forced into, right? So I prepare them to tell them, even if I try to mentor you, it will not work unless you're actually seeking for it. So all I expect you to do is to seek for it. And again, this typically works out really well. I remember there's just not one person. Sorry, I go on tangents. There's not one person I've seen that doesn't make it to ownership when they do that, just by doing this step 7, this step over here. If they just do this, like I remember having to tell Aaron to leave me alone, bro, because I didn't know what else to tell him. Because he wanted to network so much, it was almost unhealthy. And I had to send him to other people. So by default, he learned, right? Because he wanted it so bad. And step 8, communication, right? If they're like, oh, how do I get mentorship? How do I coach? I don't know how to do it, when to do that. I'm like, cool. So here's how you do it. I expect you to communicate. So if you don't have anything to communicate, just make sure there's at least like an open line of communication that we can check up on each other, right? We're partners. So a weekly breakdown is something you can put on your calendar. I don't have time. Open the calendar. You're going to send me an email, a call. We can jump on a Zoom. We can do it in person. Maybe not weekly, maybe for somebody else's daily, guys. Remember, you can switch this. Like I want to know what your plan for the day is, and I want to know what your weekly, what your breakdown of the day was, right? I typically put a 90-day core, and this 90-day thing, I created it because my office was suffering until now. I think like I fixed it already, but we were suffering on retention after 90 days for leadership people. So now I want them to understand that on day 90 is very important to still be here. So that's why I talk about it. And I kind of follow back up on the first step, and on steps 5 and 6, I'm like, listen, reading, listening, and networking professionally with other like-minded individuals is something that, you'll get food, brother, if you need. I still got a few minutes. It's something that, it's a part of communicating. So you don't have to do this just with me, right? I just want to know what's going on as a partner, right? And all of this is what's going to do. And by the way, I literally just did it exactly how I would, other than the little couple of things. I literally just did this exactly the same way I would do it to any of my leaders. And I'm telling you, dude, you can do this to any leader. Like think about if your owner, when you were in the field, grabbed you and had this conversation with you, would you not be excited to like show them how much you're going to be the best at all these steps? Right. You would, right? So just by default, even if you didn't plan, this removes people from telling you stuff like, I don't know what to do. I don't have direction. There's so much space from leadership to assistant manager. This is like, I'm like, hey, are you doing the 8 core steps as our partner, right? What can we do better on these 8 core steps? Because if they're doing this, there's always something to talk about. Okay, what'd you read in your last book? What'd you read last night? What'd you listen to? Who'd you network this week? How many one-on-ones you have? You see how many conversations can this create, right? And again, I'm doing this in a very nonchalant way because I'm not trying to manage anybody. I'm trying to teach them how to be an entrepreneur and think on themselves. And I think the best way is by honoring the partnership and creating appreciation, right? And as many opportunities as I have in my own conversations with them to talk well about my mentor, even if my mentor is not in the building anymore, like most of you guys, your mentor is in a different city, I always look forward to opportunities to talk well about Chang. Why do you guys think I do that?
Great appreciation.
That adds value to your own mentor as well.
Yes, Katie. Yeah, appreciation for sure, bro. But it's exactly, what do you think they're going to do when they hire a new person? Who do you think they're going to talk great about?
You.
They talk great about you. And because here's the thing, you can't build yourself, right? You realize how that doesn't work. You come off as a little bit of a prick, right? If you like, if you show up in a meeting and say, hey, well, how much money do you guys make? Because I make $100,000, and that doesn't sound good, right? But if you say, hey, we're all learning from this lady that taught me, her name is Chang. She made $100,000 in the first 3 months this year of the year. And she is a person just like you and I, and she actually has the time and is willing to sit down to teach us how to do the same thing. Isn't that great, guys? So you can edify your mentor you cannot self-edify because it just doesn't work. So all you're doing is edifying your mentor in front of your leader, just because it's going to roll right back into your backyard whenever it's their turn, which is going to create a lot of depth, right? This is what's going to create second, third, fourth, fifth generation leadership people, because when your new leader hires somebody, they're just going to talk well about you. It's going to give you the shot to coach them, because that new guy's going to reach out to you too. And then you're going to have third, fourth generation people. I want you to know, guys, I know some of you guys know I got this from Rafael. Think about how many offices this guy has. He has people with 6th generation offices. Think about how much stability that creates in his business. The volume comes with how many first generations he has, right? That's volume, sales. We all love that. But the stability comes from the depth, how deep into his team he went, right? And it's because of that, edifying the mentorship, becoming grateful to your upline, which always rolls back to you if you're the one mentoring people. So anyway, we can talk about this, a whole different call. We can talk about that forever. I'm learning a lot. I just came from a conference that people speaking about leadership, nothing crazy. It was really cool. And I learned a lot. And this is one of the biggest things I realized, that as you can tell, I was deleting stuff. It's not from our business, but it applies the same way. It's the same exact thing, because it's leadership, it's accountability. So anyway, we can talk about when. If you guys want to call me and you're thinking about a specific person, we can talk about that. Like, when do I do this? But the whole point is to do it. It's better to do it the wrong moment than to not do it. So I know I just talked forever. So first of all, Chang, I don't know if she's still around. Yeah, you are, Chang. I don't know if you heard me, or is there anything you would like to add? What are your thoughts? What do you think? Is it too much? Please.
No, I think it's really good. I mean, to be honest, I've been here for 8 years, and that is actually something I'm still working on every day, to remind yourself that the biggest thing, like number one, I think I take away from it myself is, number one, what are your strategy and your purpose helping your people? Number two, are you do anything to helping to educate yourself by networking and working on with people, reading book, or create the action to create, more result, right? So I always looking on it the two things. What do you do to help your people, and what do you do to help yourself? Because you cannot giving love without having love first, yourself first. You cannot teaching people things that you don't know before, right? So anything you guys do in this business, I want you guys to focus on that. It's like, what can I do to growing myself? Because when you naturally grow yourself, then you create a structure. How can you help in your team? So if you let the person naturally do a lot of networking call, reading a lot of books, naturally, when you talk to your people, that's what naturally come out. But if you're the person that just kind of taking what Richard do, but you not do any of this, then that's really matter, right? So I think it's really big important for that. I really appreciate you running all the things, but that's what I take away from your meeting, Richard. So that's what I got.
Thank you, Chang. Thank you. You're the best. Remember, guys.
You're the best. Okay.
Appreciate the upline. Okay, I know Chang has to hop off, but I wanted to show at least whoever stays for 2 more minutes. I want to show you an app that I downloaded on my computer. But does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to ask anything?
Julian, I see you on the Zoom. All right. Bye, Richard. Bye, guys.
Okay, Jane.
Bye, Jang.
Does it make sense for everybody? You guys want to talk about when to do it or whatever? Like, dude, the way I look at this is these conversations, well done. You'll fuck up the first few, but these conversations, this is what'll long-term remove you from the field. It's not being in the field. I mean, being in the field is important. You got to train X amount of people for sure. But it's really this. It's the ability to be good at creating a partnership with somebody and convincing them how you being in their life is better than you not being in their life. Does it make sense? Wes? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, Richard. This is absolutely fantastic. So you said, do you have any questions on when to do it? So I think, the leadership quiz is pretty intense, in itself, right? So, doing it with that, You know, I think it like, when do you usually do it? Like, do you usually tie it into the leadership quiz, or do you do it as like an intro to leadership? You know, like, do you have a packet that you get? Because we have a packet, you know, so like, oh, here's your
Yeah.
leadership packet. Like
I
so
said, I
like
haven't.
or
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't really.
well, when are you doing it? Like, when are you jumping into it? You know, I know you haven't done it yet, but like, what's your idea of when you're going to do it starting out?
Probably a few days after we promote the person. When you say your leadership quiz is very intense, maybe it shouldn't be that intense.
Okay.
And by the way, you could switch this. You could change the leadership quiz for this, and like the important things that you like about your leadership quiz, insert into this. You can create an extra step on this. I'm just trying to give you more stuff that it's like the leadership
Gotcha.
quiz is the same thing. It's a tool to retain the person long term, right? I just feel like
Right.
with the 8 core steps here, not only I'm retaining the person long term a little bit, I'm also teaching them like values that I want them to do that they know they're going to look at. I'm going to look at how much reading they're doing and how much audios they're doing. Like, I don't care really if they do this every day, but if I can get a leader, if I can get an owner to read a page a day, 2 pages a day of a book, like, what really is going to help them is the fact that they sit their ass down, their butt down, and they actually open a book and read. And that habit, after a year, pays that person more money. It's just science, you know? So that's what I'm looking to create.
I like this a lot. I like this. I wouldn't say I like it a lot better than the leadership quiz.